Therapy Army, let's be having you. How are we doing? Big up to everybody in the chat already. Please smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Please. Welcome. Thank you. Giddy FC, where are you? Manchester United are about to play in a final for the first time in a long time. So let's get into it, people. Let's get into it. This is the League Cup final preview. Manchester United versus Newcastle United. And it's going to be very interesting after this weekend. What is going to be? How much does a like cost on this channel? Exactly, Kadeem Dixon. You let them know, brother. You let them know. It costs you absolutely nothing. How can Rooney say that he doesn't know who the Glazers are? Oh God, Rooney, big up to Rooney, brother. Glazers have done a good job for 20 years. Will always back managers with the players. They wanted 10 minutes into ESPN interview. Well, Rooney, innit, he just shows you he's an establishment guy, innit? Like, to me, Rooney's not a Manchester United fan. Rooney is a fan of Everton. He's a diehard blue fan of Everton, and he's not asked about. He played for us. He's a goal scorer. He was a brilliant player for Man United. He won a lot of trophies, but he's not a Manchester United supporter. So it's not going to affect him in the same way that it would affect Gary Neville, for example, or Paul Scholes, or David Beckham, or Nicky Butt, even though Nicky Butt worked for them, or Phil Neville, any of those players. There are players who support the football club but then understand the football club. And people like Peter Schmeichel, people like Wayne Rooney, people like Rio Ferdinand, they're just pretenders. When it suits them, they pretend to be the fans of Manchester United. They pretend. I think Patrice Evra is a fan of Manchester United. I don't think he's pretending. Because you see Patrice Evra, when Man United lose, he's despondent. He's like all of us. So it is hilarious. Big up Rooney. He's absolutely hilarious. That's what he is. It's quite funny, actually. But yeah, we are what we are, people. It says Wayne Rooney Thursday. I think the Glazers have done a fantastic job at the club. They've been at the club for 20 years. And they've always allowed. By the way, I'm not at home tonight. I'm at my friends, Gemma and our Matty, and babysitting beautiful Rory, which is a beautiful, absolutely 6-year-old that's going on 35, if you know what I mean. He's a 6-year-old. His name is Rory, Brent, and he is going on 35. And tonight we've had the biggest laugh we ever had.
Oh, really?
Ever. We've had, so big up to the Therapy Army. If you know that I'm a bit late because the battery died, obviously, and I had to build the thing up. So we are on to this. I will be welcoming his dad to come and sit next to me in a minute because we're going to be talking about Newcastle. And his dad, Matty, who's here now, you can see in the picture, Matty Astrom, is an absolute diehard Newcastle supporter. But let's just begin the show first. We're just reacting to the comments from Wayne Rooney. Wayne Rooney says, firstly, I think the Glazers have done a fantastic job at the club. They've been at the club for 20 years and have always allowed the manager to bring players they want. So this is the biggest contradiction, people, because somebody like me is a student of history. Not just Manchester United football history, but political history, geopolitical history, world events history. And Wayne Rooney here is the biggest liar you've ever seen in your life. Wayne Rooney put in a transfer request at a certain time when Manchester United sold Ronaldo, got rid of Tevez, and basically most of the big players left Manchester United. And Rooney was there by himself. And Rooney then put in a transfer request and said he wanted to get the hell out of the football club. Guess who owned the football club then? Who owned the football club then was the Glazers. So when Wayne Rooney says players, when he said always allowed manager to bring players they want, he's telling absolutely porky pies if I've ever seen one. And it's the type of like strike back because he knows this comment is going to hurt a lot of fans. He knows that. But that's his way because he's never believed, Wayne Rooney, he's never believed he is somebody who was ever fully taken in by the United fans. He doesn't believe that. So this is Wayne Rooney speaking to spite the Manchester United fans, to kind of like put the knife in and twist it a little bit. Because Wayne Rooney is, this statement is the biggest lie. The only question you have to ask Wayne Rooney is, okay, Rooney, if that was right, why did you put in a transfer request at the time that you did? Why? That's the only question. Only question, and one question only. Wayne Rooney, why did you say that Man United Football Club is not as ambitious and is not matching your ambition? Why did you threaten to, why did you, actually you did it, you put in a transfer request. Why did you do that and threaten to go to Man City? Why did you do that, Wayne Rooney? And by the way, Wayne Rooney at that time had a visit, maybe about 200 and 230 United fans went around to his house. That's the reports that I'm hearing. I think it might, some people said 30, some people reckon it's about 230. They pressed the intercom and asked Wayne Rooney to come outside. You know how he gives it the toughen, the big man. He never came outside. He was like, what are you doing outside my house? That's Wayne Rooney for you. So Wayne Rooney here is chatting out of his backside. But big up Sammy says, you can have the Carabao Cup and the Europa as Arsenal are a charitable club, but the league is ours. Big up Sammy. Big up Sammy. Big up Sammy. Sammy, big up to you. And lots of love to Sammy for that. But Sammy, looks like you're back and you are back on that pipe. The pipe that was banned, we banned it. The Therapy Army banned that pipe. We said it was out of stock. We tried to help you to stay away from that pipe, and looks like you're back in it. But big up to you. And love and like to Alicia Sincanova. Please smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, people. Big up to everybody. Love and light. Yeah, listen. It is. Listen, Mohammed, it is what it is. It is what it is. And we have to call it out for what it is, people. We have to always call it out for what it is. And the Glazers and Wayne Rooney need to, literally, they need to look at themselves in their eyes, both Wayne Rooney and the Glazers, because the way they're talking, oh my God, it's just, yeah, it's not good for me. It's genuinely not good for me to think about, honestly, genuinely. I'm just going to go back to none and hopefully get Matty in. Matty, come on here, my friend. Come on, sit pretty here. This is Matty Astrom, people. Matty, you might have seen him. Those of you who remember the United Stand days, you might have seen me and Matty doing a Manchester United, Newcastle United match reaction outside Old Trafford. That's right, yeah. It's the time under Jose Mourinho when they went up 2-0 at Old Trafford.
We went up 2-0. We had Rafa Benitez.
Yeah.
Nuruddin took me to the Stratford end. I went undercover. I had to stifle going 2-0 up. I wasn't expecting it. And then I had to stifle my disappointment at losing 3-2.
But can you tell the Therapy Army? Can you tell them? Can you please tell them what you did? Can you tell them, Matty? Matty's going to tell you every time he says United, he'd be singing like everybody. United, not in Manchester United, Newcastle United.
Yeah, because in my eyes, we're proper United. One city, one love.
Matty, it's the small game that's taking place this weekend.
Yeah, just a little game.
Just a little game.
What's that? Rugby? Is that 7 nations? Exactly. 6 nations? Whatever. Rugby's rubbish.
Exactly. So this weekend is going to be the final. Actually, since the last time you were in the final was 99. It is a bit surreal, actually. So the last time Newcastle were in the final.
I'm liking that. Thank you. I'm looking like Shearer. I've got the small eyes.
Alicia Sincanova is one of the funniest people you'll ever see. You'll ever interact with on a football stream and chat. Big up Claire as well. Big up our Claire. So the last time you were in the final was 1999. Well, 99, yeah.
Yeah.
And we know what happened. The rest is history. The treble. Yeah. It was a treble.
I do remember that. I sat on my mate's doorstep and cried afterwards and said, "We'll never win anything." And I rue those words. God, I didn't think it'd take this long to get back to a final, but yeah.
Well, you're back in the final, man.
Yeah, we haven't won a trophy. Last time we won a trophy was the Fairs Cup, which is the equivalent of the Europa League, which was 1969. I believe the last time we won the domestic cup was either 1954 or 1955. We won the FA Cup 3 times in the early 50s. So it's been a long time for us. Yeah.
Yep.
So this is massive. It's massive for us. But to be honest, I think most fans will just enjoy just being there, just being at Wembley, just getting to a final again,
100%. I think the biggest thing for me is like, it's come so early.
Yeah.
Usually would expect like finals and that to come towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
But this is the first trophy to be fought over. Neither of us have been in this type of final for a long time, I think. I'm trying to remember the last time Man United were in a League Cup final.
Yeah.
I don't remember because, to be fair and be honest, Manchester United always used to play the kids and we used to get knocked out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I think it was 2005, if I'm not mistaken. I think last time. Oh, when did Liverpool beat us? I remember Liverpool beating us. And because it was the League Cup, I wasn't even upset. And it was one of the most, it was one of the weirdest things. I think Michael Owen scored. It was a last minute winner, Michael Owen, towards the end of the game. Liverpool beat us 1-0. And I wasn't even upset. I wasn't even like, I was like, it's just the League Cup. Yeah. We're going to go for the league.
It's massive now. It's massive. But it's like Europe as well, isn't it? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like getting in the Europa League is massive. These things are huge. I mean, like getting to, everyone was like, League Cup doesn't really matter. League Cup is massive now. Picking up a trophy. For you guys, I think it is. You know what I mean? Getting that trophy under your belt again. For us, obviously, it's huge.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
For me, the biggest thing is that in my mentality, because the way that I've been spoiled, I got spoiled rotten, Matty. And the way I look at it, I look at the Europa League, I'm like, that's not even in my vocabulary. Like, League Cup, I was like, it was always about challenging for the league.
Yeah.
It was the FA Cup to me. I love the FA Cup. And the FA Cup means a lot to me. And a lot to me because growing up in this country, you grew up with the FA Cup. You grew up with the FA Cup Saturday, even if your team wasn't in it. Yeah. If your team was in it, it was amazing. If your team wasn't in it, you as a kind of just a fan of football, you absolutely tuned in and you would watch it. Yeah. And this is before there were so many games on football. Back in the day, the whole country would be watching the FA Cup final.
Yeah,
the whole country. Yeah. Nowadays, football was so saturated. I mean, Manchester United play every 3 days.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? That's how much football that's going on.
And that's days. Good. That's good for us. That's good for Newcastle.
Well, Eddie Howe, tonight, your manager, we'll get to some of the quotes, by the way. He's twisting it the other way. He's like, ooh, I'm afraid that we're not match sharpness because they keep playing, and we've waited 6-7 days.
Yeah, well, it's
6 days rest,
yeah, but it has crossed my mind because I was all like, yeah, we've got the rest, this is great. And then, obviously, the result came through. I just live near Old Trafford here, and the result came through, and I was like, ooh, I am a little bit scared now that it's like, even though it was a tough game, obviously, an intense match, and I was wanting it to go to extra time, obviously, for, you know what I mean, for not obvious selfish reasons. But it did make me think. I was like, that moment.
Anthony put an end to that, didn't he, last night? Yeah. And you know what? Matty lives 2-3 streets away from the Stretford end.
I can see from my bedroom window.
Did you hear the roar last night?
I didn't. I believe I was putting Rory to bed. My little son, 6 years old, but he loves Manchester United. But it's just his local team. He has no idea how big they are. They're just the Manchester Reds as far as
the Manchester Reds. And I asked him tonight, and I said to him, "Guess what's happening, Rory? On Sunday, your dad's team and your team are playing in the final for a cup." And he went, "Oh, the Manchester Reds and the black and whites."
Yeah, because I've not told him. Because I've told him he's going to sit through in this other room playing a Switch while I watch it in the other room.
well, I'm sorry, I didn't know that. So, but I think he quickly forgot about it anyway. He was just like, I want to shoot. He was dunking the basketball using my hands as to dunk on. But big up to everybody. It is what it is for me. Like, in terms of what the game could be, I think you've been on a fantastic form this season. I think Eddie Howe, I've stood outside Old Trafford many a time and talked about Eddie Howe when he was a Bournemouth manager.
Yeah.
When I was watching the most horrendous football I've ever watched,
I remember
under Jose, and I was saying, give me Eddie Howe. Obviously, he got sacked by Bournemouth. Bournemouth went down. He went around Europe, improving himself. He didn't hang around. He literally went to different clubs. One of them being Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
And that's why when he got asked today, when Ten Hag got asked about Newcastle, he said they're an annoying team to play against.
We are now, yeah. And I love it. I used to hate it, but like when other teams did it to us, but now I'm like, yeah. Waste some time,
Exactly. The wasting time and the amount of tactical fouls, the amount of time the ball's out of play, all of it, taking time, all of that is the shithousery of football. So he went to he went to different countries in Europe, learned the different techniques to be. And I think he's been absolute. I mean, literally, everybody had you down at Christmas. Yeah. And now,
last year,
So last year, have you down at Christmas, and then now you're battling for the Champions League. You're in Champions League positions to be fighting for it.
Yeah.
And then you're in a final already. I mean, what does that say about him as a coach?
I mean, what you've got to understand is that like we have bought players, we have bought some really good players as well, some top talent across Europe, but we've not gone and spent crazy money. And the players that he's improved, I think, is where you kind of see how good a manager he is. Joe Linton, he was like, everyone laughed at him, he's found his position in midfield. He sometimes still plays as a winger, as a forward in a forward three. But Miguel Almiron is just incredible now. Just signed a new contract. He's just like, and you could see the potential. He came from Atlanta, and you could see the potential. Before he was signed, I was watching YouTube videos of him and some of the goals. And under Rafa, he was playing well, but he wasn't getting the goal. Now he looks like the player that we all wanted him to be. So you look at some of those players. Sean Longstaff, again, has become really good. He really went downhill under Steve Bruce. Just some of these players who were the spine of the team, really, and who were already there. Eddie Howe's got them playing really well. And then the signings, Botman, Bruno Guimaraes Bruno's been incredible. He's the linchpin, really, of this squad. And for me, he is, anyway.
Oh, fantastic player. Bruno, honestly. You've got your Bruno. I mean, when he went to you, he was just like, wow, what a player.
Yeah.
Like, this when you know that Newcastle are serious, really serious recruiting. Yeah. You've also got one of the best recruiters in the country. You signed him from Brighton, Dan Ashworth.
Yeah.
So you're not going all out. You are building slowly.
Yeah.
You are building a team, and you're taking the steps to get there. You're not signing Mbappe yet, like the majority of the Geordie Army were singing in the last summer.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But talk to me about the job that Eddie Howe's done, the players that have done, and what are you thinking? Where's the game lost and won on the weekend?
The game for me,
because I didn't watch your Liverpool game. I just saw the goals. But tell me about what happened.
So the Liverpool game, we've had Bruno out for 3 games because he got sent off in the League Cup semi-final, and we've really missed him. And we've struggled for goals. Really, like I said, for me, he's the player who gets everything going. I guess you would say that he's our equivalent to your Scholes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's that kind of midfielder where he can find space in midfield. He doesn't panic under pressure. He's good at pressing. He plays in that centre of a midfield 3. So he's kind of the defensive midfielder, but he can get forward and he can score and create goals as well. Now, everything for me comes through him, unless it's on the wings. So he's just, he sets, a lot of the time he sets Joe Linton off. He kind of frees him up to play. Willock as well, he kind of helps him, in terms of giving him the freedom to get forward. So for me, if we start and if we play with energy and pressing, I feel that's where we will do well. But the problem we've got is that at the minute we can't seem to put games to bed. So even if we go 1-0 up, I'd be a bit worried that we might not be able to hold on to it. Our defence has been incredible. Eddie Howe was never really known as a defensive manager, but he's really got that defence, that back five working so well. One of the issues we have is that Nick Pope has been fantastic all season, and obviously he got sent off. Ironically, Martin Dubravka came to you guys, played the League Cup game, so he's cup tied. If you win it, he gets a winner's medal. So instead, it looks like Karius is going to play. And Karius has got a lot to prove, obviously, from the Champions League.
Redemption.
Final. Yeah, redemption. Where apparently he was concussed. We know nothing about him. We've not seen him. He's not played for us. So, he's been thrust into it. So I don't know what's going to happen there, in terms of the defence. We've been really good defensively all season. So we'll see
who starts for defence? So
we've got Dan Burn is left back.
Yeah.
He can also play
Centre
in the middle. Yeah. We've got Fabian Schär.
He's been brilliant, and he was good in the World Cup. So
yeah, Sven Botman, who was just amazing. People have likened him as being like our Vincent Kompany kind of signing.
Yeah.
And Kieran Trippier on the right, who is just fantastic. And that signing him set the level, I think, in terms of the mentality, the winning mentality. So, great. Across that back four has just been brilliant. Then on the bench, we've still got Jamal Lascelles, who can do a job, and is captain.
So Trippier, Botman,
Fabian Schär, Dan Burn.
So that's a solid. And the three in front usually is
Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Linton, and Joe Willock. Or Sean Longstaff.
To be fair, he's been on a brilliant form, Longstaff. Yeah. He's been playing really well. The best I've seen him play, he's getting forward a lot. He's having lots of shots.
Yeah.
It's he's been a brilliant player for you, 100%.
Yeah.
Smash the like, people. Please subscribe to the channel. If you're not subscribed, hit the notification button because you know when we're next live. We'll try to get to 7,000 by the end of March, people. It's my birthday month, so come on for a birthday. Tell your nan to subscribe, mate. Tell her neighbour. Tell the woman across the road and their two sons. You know who I'm talking about. Tell them all to subscribe. But big up to you all. So I look at it. I see. You came to Old Trafford. I was at that game at Old Trafford. It was super frustrating. Like I said, the level of housery from your team was just unbelievable. Wasting time. You were wasting time from the first half.
Yeah.
First half an hour, 35 minutes. Yeah. You were wasting time. Forget about the last 20 or last 10 to go. We didn't do enough to break chances. If you look at the team that played, I think Maguire was in that team, if I'm not mistaken. Right. I think Ronaldo started in that game, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And then and then obviously Rashford missed that sitter.
Yes, he
did. Header.
Yeah,
the header in the last few minutes.
Yeah.
I thought you tired. If I'm not in terms of the pressing and the aggression and the physicality, I thought we pushed you back. So it's going to be very interesting because I look at it. I think Man United are going to this game with totally different kind of mentality and mindset.
Yeah.
And in terms of the type of the momentum that we have from these games that we've been playing. It's going to be very interesting, but one thing I've been worried about, and I've been talking about it, one of the things that I've always said that Manchester United squad is not capable of to fight on all four fronts. I believe that it's not. Big up Khalees from Medinasi Chibeda United Real Therapy. I'll come back to Wayne Rooney. We talked about it a little bit already, but we'll come back to him. We're just focusing now on the League Cup final this Sunday with Matty, one of my boys, die hard. Newcastle through and through. It's the fact that Man United, for me, that the other night, not Wayne Rooney, I don't know Wayne Rooney, Casemiro gets a stamp from Lewandowski, our hearts is in our mouth.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Rashford gets into a challenge, drops, our heart are in our mouth. And last night, he put this, he's not even vague about it, he basically said, fingers crossed for Sunday. That he put that on Instagram last night for Rashford, and
because he was brought off, wasn't he? Wasn't he brought
off? He was brought off. Yeah, he was brought off, and then he was limping. He got seen limping out of Old Trafford. He limped off Old Trafford, so that is the biggest thing in terms of the injury news. Obviously, Martial is out. Anthony just come back in. McTominay just recently come back into the team. We've still got, one of the most creative players, deep lying in midfield players, Eriksen. Still going, and Donny van de Beek that could have made the squad and this run much easier. he's also out for the season. So they're both out for the season. Where United lose this game, Man United have to match the shithousery levels. They have to match your physicality.
Yeah.
And then we have to take our chances when we get them. It's not the type of thing in a final. When you get a chance, you have to take them because the chance might not arrive. One of the things that I'm worried about is that your defensive record is incredible, even though lately you've dropped off a bit. I think since you got into the final, because of a lot of your players, the final is a massive thing. It means a lot. And obviously you can see them when they're going shopping, when they're out and about in anywhere inside Newcastle or the outskirts of Newcastle.
Yeah,
everybody's reminding them we've not won a trophy, a proper domestic trophy since the 1950s. Yeah. So it's understandable that Newcastle fans and Newcastle players, your eye being off the ball since you went through to that final. So that forming dip a little bit, then it's understood. Obviously, Nick Pope has been a brilliant part of that back five. How important was Nick Pope part of this defense?
He's been massive. And to be honest, I was surprised when we signed Nick Pope because I was always a fan of Dubravka. I remember talking to you about Dubravka, and I was quite surprised. But Nick Pope has been absolutely incredible. It has that extra level, you know. He's a great shot stopper, but he kind of commands that area as well. The first time I've seen him make a mistake really against Liverpool. So yeah, he's a huge loss to us, and it'll be interesting for me in a way to see how that defence plays, whether he was really that linchpin of that back five, or whether it's, you know, whether that our back four will be able to do well without him. So that'll be interesting. For me, Bruno coming back in is a massive thing. Like I said before, he was suspended, so he's not coming in off a
he got the red
injury.
card, didn't he? He got the red card, and then he missed 3 games. So he's lucky that he didn't miss the final.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So he's coming in. In a way, I was a bit like, right, well, if he comes in rested, because for me, like I was saying, he's one of our best players.
Yeah, he has been 100%. Big up Aaron Pandy. Aaron Pandy's already gone for his first 11 for the final. Diego Dalot. He said they gave Dalot, Varane, Martinez, Shaw, Casemiro, Fred, Bruno, Rashford, Workhorse, Anthony. That's what he's gone for. I'm gonna go something different. What's the team you're going for? Other than obviously Nick Pope, the back four we already talked about. Trippier, Van Botman.
So I'm thinking it'll be Joe Linton, Bruno, and Willock in midfield. If Willock is fit. Okay. Now, if he's not fit, that'll be Sean Longstaff, and then I think Joe Linton will go into a like a forward position. Okay. We would have Callum Wilson, if he's fit, he's always 50-50, but he's such a great striker. Callum Wilson in the centre, and then Miguel Almiron on the right. If Joe Linton is in midfield, then you're looking at St. Maximin on that left side of that front three. So
give me your first 11 for starting to 11th. Go for it. What you want to see play in the final starting?
I would say
Lorias. You didn't want Lorias in goal. You rather have Pope, but obviously Pope's not there.
Yeah, I mean it's a funny thing. In a way, I would like to see Isak play as well. Okay. So
is he fit?
He is fit. He's fit now, and it's a bit of a funny one. If you could fit Isak into that front three, then I'd like to see him there. But for me, it's Karius, Trippier, Botman, Fabian Schär, Dan Burn at the back, Willock, Bruno, Joe Linton. I would put St. Maximin on that left, Callum Wilson, and then Miguel Almiron. I would think.
So you would drop Isak?
I would think Isak would come on as a substitute.
Has he been injured?
Because the only reason I would say I think is brilliant if we can fit him into that 11 at some point. But for me, it needs to be steady. And Wilson is just such a good scorer at the moment. He's got the experience. So, for me, that would be my preferred 11. Even though for me, again, so Maximin hasn't, ironically, he's the player for me who hasn't progressed under Eddie Howe.
You know what it is? I'm gonna break this down for you, Matty. It's because now we've got a set system.
Yeah.
He's more of a free flowing.
Yeah.
He does his own thing in the last third.
Yeah.
And the system is what's king in modern football now, in modern coaches. If you don't fit into that system, you can't be. You can have the freedom, but in certain zones. So if he's up the pitch, he can be the maverick that he wants to be. But defensively, and in times when you haven't got the ball and where he is, he cannot be doing what he's doing. He has to pass the ball and help the team work up the pitch.
Yeah, you can can see him trying more. I think he's trying to do more under Eddie Howe. But the ironic thing is that under Steve Bruce, when we were bloody awful, like he was the only player who would kind of bomb forward and have that kind of he'd be able to do what he wants because he's coming from a team who was sitting back and he could break and do really well. I think Maddison would be an absolutely brilliant signing. I really rate Maddison, and I think in that position where Saint-Maximin is at the minute, I think he would thrive, and it wouldn't surprise me if he's a summer signing because we were linked with him in January. And as much as I love Saint-Maximin, again, it wouldn't surprise me if he leaves if Maddison comes in.
Okay,
so he would be a fantastic signing.
Right, brilliant. Listen, people, there's nearly 100 of you here watching. Please smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Hit the notification because it lets you know when we're next live. Big up to Matty. I'm going to give you my 11. So the 11 that I would pick, considering everything. If Rashford is injured, I will not play. I know he wants to play, but I wouldn't risk it. For me personally, at the end of the day, there's a lot long to go in the season. There's a lot of things to battle for. So I would not play Rashford. I do not believe in playing injured players. I really do not. Honestly, I do not believe that because you're a detriment to your own team.
Big smile on my face.
Listen, you're a detriment to your own team. You're a detriment to yourself, first of all, to the team and to the fans because you can never give physically your best.
Yeah.
Now, if he takes an injection, and then that means then we rest him for the West Ham game or whatever, the next league game, whatever. Well, he can't really. It's Liverpool away. So it's like I said, every 3 days we're playing. Then I just wouldn't risk him for me because there's a lot to go in the season. That's me personally. So I would start with David De Gea, obviously. I would start with Wan-Bissaka, depending if the Maximan's playing and who's playing on the left. If it's Joe Linton, then, you know what I mean? I would make that last-minute change. I think if Maximan plays, and I think they're going to try to go for it because I doubt it that your team's going to sit back. It's once in a lifetime opportunity to beat Manchester United. Yeah. And the way you beat Manchester United, you don't sit back against Manchester United. You go for them.
Yeah, and we're going to use the fans as well. I think it's going to be
you're gonna have to come for Manchester United. So that to me is a big thing for me. So I will play Wan-Bissaka. I will play obviously the back five picking itself: Martinez, Luke Shaw, and Varane. Midfield, I will play Sabitzer. I will not play Fred in this game. I know that he's on fire. I know that's a shock to you all, but he won't play. It's the same way that Isa's not playing in his team. Yeah. Some people are like, what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So to me, Sabitzer will play with Casemiro and Bruno. And then I would play Sancho on the left. I would play Anthony on the right and Workhorse up front. That's what I would play. That's the team that I would pick. Let me know what team you guys are picking. Does Rashford play when he's injured? Do you guys? This guy here is one of my best friends, one of my Geordie pals. I've just been here. They've just been to watch a comedy, and I've just been here babysitting one of my little best friends, Rory, who's an absolute legend.
Yes,
I'm Uncle Dino to Rory, like I said. And I've been
loves you.
I've been babysitting him. We've been playing a bit of basketball and been telling me about all sorts of things.
Yeah,
about school. We did some maths. We've been reading. So he's in bed now, sleeping.
Yeah, that's one thing I can take him to. We go and watch the Manchester Giants together. So big up Giants.
Big up Giants, and he loves basketball. He likes football, but he loves basketball. Yeah. And he's talking to me about Terry Green, his favorite Giants player.
Oh man, he loves him.
Yeah.
So
but it is what it is. So that's Matt. He's a diehard Newcastle supporter, but since he's been in Manchester for over 20 odd years, we've been really good friends. Yeah. So this is my boy, and you might have seen him in the United Stand videos at certain time when we watched Newcastle together. When I snuck him to the Stretford end, and he's just singing United, Newcastle, United, and I'm like, shut up.
Oh man, the look on your face when we scored as well. I was just like, I wasn't expecting it. I just looked around surprised, and I looked at Nuruddin, and he was just like,
and then you went 2-0 up, and I was just like, what's going on here? So to be fair, it was one of the most exciting games.
It was
3-2. It was a great game.
Yeah.
For the neutral, but if you are either fan, it was not a great game in that sense. It was crazy. Yeah. But yeah, that's who Matt is, mate. That's Matt Stagefrom. That who he is. He's a big Newcastle United supporter, and like I said, he is expecting like every other Geordie in that city. And I think if you want to know a city being evacuated, then you need to be somewhere on Sunday in Newcastle. I'm telling you, it's gonna be like it's a fire drill at Newcastle because
the tension in that city will be unreal. Like it would be absolutely unreal. The whole of that city will be behind and expecting for. And the thing is, like I'm saying, I don't know if it's not like we're expecting to win, but just an expectancy to turn up.
This is it.
Yeah, and I think that if I think we'll be happy if even if we lose and we turn up. It feels like this isn't. This is a funny one for us because we weren't expecting to get there, and it feels like now, even if we lose it, we've not lost hope because it feels like we're on a trajectory now. Whereas I think in the past, if we got to the final and we'd lost, God, it would have been terrible. Yeah.
So Matty, one of my boys, big Newcastle supporter. That's why we're on here, everybody. So big up, smash a like on the video for Matty, giving the Newcastle side. Look, usually you would send a Newcastle fan a stream for them to come on. No, he lives here. He lives not that far from me. We're here live. We're talking about it on next day. Tomorrow is the eve of the final. Like I said, they've not won a domestic cup since 1950s. The FA Cup 3.
Yeah.
So this is a huge game for them. An absolutely huge game for Newcastle.
We got to the League Cup final in 1976 and lost to Manchester City. So not again. Not to another Manchester.
Not to another Manchester. Yeah. Big up to everybody. For me, please get your teams in. And who you would like to see. Do you think Rashford is injured? Should Rashford start? Are you going to risk him so early in the season that he could be out for a long time? Is that what you're going to do? Big up United till I die. People, whatever Nuruddin letting in his legend, look at those two good friends. These two, yeah, man, it's like a brother from another mother, mate. I'm telling you, absolute legend, absolute legend. We've been friends for over 20 years, people.
Yeah,
and I think you're the only diehard Newcastle supporter that I know who lives in Manchester, actually.
Yeah, lives here. Yeah. Came here for work, lives here. Yeah. Used to work with Nuruddin.
Yeah, we used to work together. Yeah, pals. I remember the first day we met, and I was like, "Who do you support?" I was like, "That accent's like Newcastle." Like, yeah, Newcastle, man. Shearer. You were telling me Shearer. I was like, "Oh, calm down with that Shearer talk." And I was reminding him, remember when Keegan said it? I love it if we beat them. I love it. No, honestly, I'm telling you, he was reminding me of the 5-0 at St. James's Park when it rained, when it poured, and we got absolutely smashed.
Man, the Philip Albert goal, man, I can still I remember where I was. God, it was such a good.
You know that Philip Albert goal? I had my hands like this.
Yeah,
like that.
That was after. That was the next game, but not the next game. But that was the first game we played you after we'd lost that the league, and that nearly destroyed me losing that league, as it did Kevin Keegan. But that was
Yeah.
So, but just to be here again, we've talked about this a lot as well. Just to be kind of here again means so much, I think, to both clubs. And it's like, and I know, again, we're saying it's only the League Cup, but it feels like both clubs are on a trajectory. Yeah, and it's like, and it was, such, and I feel
we've had our worst Premier League season in history. You almost went down.
We got relegated twice,
but you almost went down again.
We almost went down last season.
And the trajectory, like nobody would have said to me this season, Newcastle and Man United are going to spend quite a couple of months in the top 4. Like I would have said to you, what are you smoking?
Yeah,
I would have been
especially I mean, especially at the beginning, you guys lost 3-0 to Brighton, was it, at home?
Yeah.
And it was like, it was like, are they going to go that way again? But just the run that you've been on. And even if this League Cup had come a few weeks ago, I would have been a lot more confident. But now I'm like, ooh, this is looking tasty. Yeah. This is looking very tasty.
Yeah, it's going to be, to me, win, lose or draw, it's going to be a fantastic, I just hope for a fantastic occasion. I hope that both sets of fans behave themselves and everything is all in good and banter.
Yeah.
I really hope that. I really hope that we get a brilliant game and may the best team win. 100%, Matty. May the best bloody team win. May the best winning team. I'll be in touch straight away. Hopefully, to try to get you to come on, whatever the result is. For me, the League Cup does not make or break the trajectory Manchester United are on and the trajectory that Newcastle are on. I don't think losing or winning breaks that because it's so early in the season as well. I think if it was the end of the season, you would like them to finish with something at the end of the season. You know what I mean? But I understand that. But obviously, the type of pressure that it brings because you've not won 69 years, you've not won a trophy. Well,
it feels like there's not the... If we lose, I feel like the fans will get behind the club again in the next game to get them up. Because there's not the aggro there. When you went to St James's Park under Mike Ashley, it was aggro. The fans they weren't united, really. You know, it was like, shall we go to the game? Should we boycott? All of this kind of stuff, as you well know. You know, you've been through that kind of stuff. But now it feels like the fans are united behind the team. There are issues with sports washing and everything like that. But it feels like, and I'm not saying that's a small thing. It's difficult for me as well. But it feels like the fans are now as a city are behind the players who are on the pitch, regardless of what's happening behind the scenes. They're actually running the club very well, but you know, obviously, I'm not into the the sports washing and all of that kind of stuff. The human rights issues are very real, but everyone is behind that team, and I feel like even if we lose that game, the fans will be positive in the next game. So and it feels like that for you guys as well. You know,
100%. In terms of that, well, the Glazer have not gone yet. I remember I rang Matt when Mike Ashley left, and I was said congratulations. Honestly, I know how that feels. I think this is where we've been linked actually, like as two clubs, to have absolute vulture parasite owners. Like the only other club that really understood the Man United fan base in our 17-18-year war with the Glazers is Newcastle. Because how long he owned you? Was it a decade or something?
Yeah, it was 2008 when he took over.
They took over 2005, so 3 years later he bought you. And then you were sold last year, weren't you? So it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So Eddie Howe, we have a long build up to the game. Manchester United have a short build up. I think it evens itself out. They're saying that about the rest. I think most people will prefer the rest. Ten Hag and time wasting. I'm not their instructions. We focus on our game, playing football. We have to find a moment where we can strike. He says that big up Khalid when last year, Chief United Real Therapy. And then Ten Hag talks about it's a great opportunity to get silverware in football. It's about glory and honour. We deserve to play in the final. We have a great chance to win the cup. Ten Hag continues here. It says the fans are waiting for the first trophy, so we can do everything we can. Like I said, I don't think it makes or breaks because I think Newcastle will be contesting for bigger trophies than a League Cup in the upcoming years. I think the trajectory that you guys are on is what it is. So big up to you. Big up to Logan as well. Listen, we're going to have to wait and see, man. What the Mail says what it says. At the end of the day, because the Mail might agree with what I'm saying, Logan, I'm not going to jump on it. But I don't think the Glazers want to sell. So to me, until otherwise, I have to see it to believe it. So I just don't want any Elliott vulture capitalists who literally bankrupted and ruined the club. Countries like Argentina, they're like hedge fund vulture. They'll be giving them the money for the stadium apparently. So it is what it is. But listen, I don't want to keep you too long, and I don't want to focus on this one too much. Actually, Khalees, we'll get you, Tom, and everybody else on because I'm at my friend's house. We've got guests, so I don't want to be taking too long with this preview. But I just wanted to get Matt, and it just worked out perfectly. I was babysitting his son on day before the final, 2 days before the final. So, Khalees, you, Tom, and the whole gang will be back as usual for around 7 o'clock on that night. I think it's 3 o'clock kickoff. Is what's it? 4 o'clock kickoff?
4:30.
Yeah, 4:30 kickoff. And then so we'll be back in and around straight after. We'll be doing a match reaction. So big up to every one of you. And Matty, score 2-2 score if Newcastle was to win.
2-1.
2-1.
Newcastle were to win.
2-1.
Or we fall apart and you win 3-0.
Okay.
So it's
2-1. You reckon 2-1?
2-1. The thing is, it could go to penalties. We are draw specialists at the minute, so it could end up going to penalties. I don't think my heart could take it, to be honest. But
Big up United till I die. I know they had a drink tonight. There, nothing. I would do listen to Life of God, bro. You are Webby and O'Neill. You rock my world. But listen, love you, man. Love United. Big up United till I die, man. Absolutely nothing but love. Matty, 2-1 to score us. Who are your scorers? Are you gonna score?
Go on. Let's say St. Maximan does something. Let's say he's been looking like he wants to score. So I would say St. Maximan to score, and Callum Wilson with 2 assists from Almiron.
Okay, so 2 assists Almiron.
Yeah,
I think. I mean, some people are literally having a go at me thinking that we should drop Fred, but I think we need fresh new legs and physicality of Sabitzer. We're going to need against Newcastle. I think, yes, players can come on and change. We've shown that. We've proven that this season. I'm going to go 2-1 Manchester United, maybe getting a winner in the last few minutes of the game. That's what I'm going for.
Right.
I'm going for that. Man United. But like I said, if Man United lose, trust me, you will not see me upset. But if Man United win, I won't be going jumping for joy or anything. It's a League Cup. I want Manchester United to be focusing on challenging for the league title and in the next couple of years. But the biggest celebration would be when the Glazers leave finally. Yeah. I will treat that as 5 Champions Leagues and 10 league titles. I would give you 10 league titles and Champions Leagues all the time back if the Glazers go. I would take a relegation, people. I would take it going to the Championship to get rid of the Glazers. That's how much I hate the parasite. They are parasite. That's what they are. They've ruined and they've sucked the life and blood out of this football club. And the reason why everything looks rosy and now we're getting back, because all they had to hire was a manager and support him, and they've not done that in the last decade. Instead, we wasted $1 billion. We wasted $1.5 billion in debt repayments. That's money going out the club. They've took out in their whole years. They nearly took out 200 million in terms of dividends money. So it just shows you what we are. For me, more than winning any trophy, getting rid of the Glazers means all to me. Honestly, the day the Glazers leave, I'll be around here and I'll be like I'm drunk. I don't drink, but I'm going to come around and see you, Matty, because I know you are going to understand what it is like to be owned by a vulture.
Yeah.
So
I absolutely
everybody knows. It is what it is, people. Big up to all of you. In terms of the breaking news tonight, it's not breaking news if you live in Manchester. Just quickly, Mason Greenwood, him and his girlfriend are apparently having a baby. We wish them nothing but luck. That player, I doubt it to see him in a United shirt I can't see it. I can't see it. I can't see him, but I wish him and his new family and congratulate them on the pregnancy of the baby. And I wish them all well. I hope that they're all healthy mentally and physically and emotionally. That is what we wish for. And we always wish as well that everybody, anytime there's any sort of abuse or any sorts of things, whether men or women out there or anybody who identifies as non-binary as well, that all of them can get the help and support they need.
Absolutely.
Like, that is what solidarity with all victims. That's what we are on here. In terms of Wayne Rooney, quickly, I'll just go on this. Wayne Rooney said this about the Glazers because Wayne Rooney says,
oh, they've done a fantastic job, those Glazers. Yeah, taking all that money out the club. Yeah.
And this is the Wayne Rooney. That wanted to leave, put in a transfer request. You remember, Matty?
Yeah.
And wanted to go to Man City when we sold Tevez and Ronaldo. Remember?
It's all about this. And there was another thing as well. This wound me up as well when I was talking to you about it. When Rio Ferdinand, and I know he'll be a big guy.
Not everybody knows. Not everybody knows.
That whole thing with like, oh yeah, Mike Ashley's a great guy, and what the Newcastle fans talking about. Listen, it's like, come on.
You should see what we say to most of his Twitter. I always put Glazers out. Why are you not Glazers out?
Yeah.
Why are you a Glazers in?
It's a shame, I think, when players don't stand up, ex-players don't stand up for what they can see in front of them. Yeah. But
the biggest thing I wanted to quickly explain, Matt, is that Wayne Rooney never really felt like as a Liverpoolian that Man United fans took to him.
No.
Which is not true, by the way. Yeah. I think a lot of United fans still sing his name. I think a lot of them have took to him, but he's bit on Twitter because he's an Everton fan. He will always be an Everton fan, right? He's not a Manchester United fan. No. So he's doing this because Ronaldo came out against the Glazers. Ronaldo started calling him all sorts of things.
Right.
And now he's trying to do the opposite because he lives in America now. And what does he try to do when he lives in America? Not talk bad about people from America. So Wayne Rooney lives in America. His kids live here.
Yeah.
He lives over there, which is a bit surreal. Like, why don't you get a job managing in the Championship or any of the League One or whatever? You managed Derby. So it's a bit surreal for him. So I don't know what Wayne Rooney. Maybe Wayne Rooney thinks the Glazers can buy DC United. That's what he expects. But listen,
Politics,
to me,
man.
it's nothing but bitter and twisted, because if he was so happy under the Glazer ownership, why did he put in a transfer request when we saw Ronaldo and Tevez? Why did he say this club's not matching his ambitions? Why did he say that? Nobody asked him that question. So for me, it just shows that Wayne Rooney is not a Manchester United fan. Neither is Peter Schmeichel. Peter Schmeichel was in Davos with the Glazers looking for investment. It shows you. So Peter Schmeichel's not a United fan. Wayne Rooney's not a United fan. But when you're ex-player and Manchester United are one of the biggest clubs in the world financially, it helps you. Rio Ferdinand's not a Manchester United fan. The true Manchester United fans would despise and hate everything the Glazers stand for.
That's pretty easy.
Yeah, exactly. It's simple. It's black and white. Honestly, just like your kits. Black and white, like the black and white, like Rory says. Who knows who might be buying the MLS team or the champion team, and Rooney knows, right? But it is what it is, people. Big love and light. Matty, win, lose or draw, Glazers out, bankers out. May the best team win. I just want to see a fantastic game on Sunday. And I think you're on to bigger and better things. And I think with Ten Hag, we're going on a journey, regardless what happens. And I think that's the most important thing, the type of journey we're both on. And if the Glazers leave, Ten Hag would even be in a better position, honestly. The club, I'm telling you, people like me, Matty before has bought me a United kit, and I said to him, don't ever buy me a United kit ever again. I've never went to the store ever in my life. Went inside that store in 17 years, 18 years.
My son Rory wanted to get him one. That was what it was.
Rory was
I want to get him. I want to get Uncle Dino a. So I had to go into the Manchester United shop and don't. This goes no further.
No, it's the truth. It's the truth. And I told him, and it's not just you, my other cousins, my aunties, they're all like, I'm like, no, because this is what I'm saying to you. That's how I want to be able to buy a shirt for myself. Yeah. I want to be able to get. I love those little woolly gloves and the hats and stuff like that. Like. It is what it is, people. Win, lose or draw, Glazers out, bankers out. Matty said 2-1. I think 2-1 the other way. Late goal for Manchester United. That's how I think it is. We'll see you for the match reaction. Come around 7 o'clock. I think by that time the game will be finished. About 7:30, we'll see you for the match reaction.
One thing I want to say. Big rivalry. The rivalry is real between Newcastle and Manchester United. It always has been, but there's been. I honestly believe there's always been respect there. And that's the reason why, I think, and hopefully we'll see, like I say, that rivalry is there. Obviously I want us guys to win, but it would be good to see Newcastle and Manchester United back on top again, fighting it out against each other.
That would be, and I'm not going to lie to you guys, that league title where they lost the league, they were 12 points clear. And they lost it. Matty, look, still traumatized. Those words are like daggers in your heart, right? But I'm telling you now, it was one of the best chases for league that season. It was so many twists and turns, Matty.
The football was unreal. Both teams, the football was unreal.
I'm not going to lie to you, as a United fan, I can also say, at that time, Newcastle were playing some of the most scintillating football ever. You think Liverpool play amazing football under club. You think Man City play under Pep. That Newcastle team, entertainment is not the word, people. Entertainment is not the word. If you wanted to fight, they would fight you. If you wanted to play football, they would out football. Ginola was special.
Ginola, man. Oh, yeah.
Ginola was special. Yeah. But I still don't know, Matty, how we got the Players' Player of the Year when we won the treble. I still don't know how.
Because he was good looking. Because he was good looking. He was better looking than any Manchester United player. That's
David Beckham. I think David Beckham got voted the second best player that year in the Ballon d'Or, and David Ginola won the journalist on the spot. Like the football of writers, football of the year, and I'm like, what planet? Ryan Giggs and Beckham were amazing that season. Ryan Giggs literally scored the best FA Cup goal in the history of the FA Cup. Yeah. And Ginola got it.
I saw Ginola score a goal in the UEFA Cup, and oh man, it was unreal. But anyway, I'm going back.
Listen,
I'm going back. Memories.
Listen, it is what it is. Please subscribe to the channel, smash a like on the video. Make sure you select that bell. It lets you know when we're next live. Hit the notification button. You know how it is. Win, lose or draw, Glazers out, bankers out. That's how we keep it. See you for the match reaction. after the League Cup. May the best team win, mate.
It's big.
It's big. Good night, guys. Take care. Peace.